When writing a business plan, people often hit a pause point right at the SWOT analysis and anticipated impact sections. Many think, what am I supposed to write here? Or, isn't this just repeating the same thing? But these sections, if done right, build trust with investors, appeal to customers, and give you clear direction. SWOT analysis, simply put, is a strategic map that shows who you are, what you do well, and where your risks lie. Many just create a table, but remember, it's a tool to plan specific actions and responses. In other words, SWOT is not a simple summary, but a starting point for an implementation strategy. We organize these 4 things calmly: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That in itself becomes a strategy. Strengths are your unique weapons. Ask yourself, what do we truly do well, and write it down clearly. For example, if you add numbers like 15 years of experience as a teaching staff or over 95% satisfaction in the industry, your credibility will increase significantly. Don't just list your strengths, but also write about how you can utilize them. When writing strengths, it is better to be sincere and quantitative. For example, securing professional instructors with 15 years of industry experience. This gives credibility along with numbers. Weaknesses are not something to be hidden, but something to be known and prepared for in advance. Weaknesses are not hidden, but managed, and brand awareness is still low. We have little financial resources, etc. What's important is a response plan. You need to write along with the so what are we doing to make it more persuasive? And for example, we are running a SNS campaign to increase awareness. Other examples include brand awareness is low, the training curriculum is still lacking, and content funding capacity is limited. Rather than hiding this, you can show honesty and preparedness by writing something like, but we are compensating for this. Here, we look for where is the wind blowing that is favorable for our business. Opportunities are like gifts from the market. We look for reasons to do this business now. What is advantageous for us in this market? For example, beauty industry growth rate of over 10% per year. Surge in demand for online education. You should also write down what strategies you use to avoid missing that opportunity. Industry growth, increased demand for education after COVID-19, expansion of certification system right your back. Just recognizing that opportunities are not something I create, but rather something that the market creates, is a form of strategic thinking. The last is threats. In fact, this is a list of issues to prepare for in advance. Threats are unavoidable. There are the entry of large competitors, rising labor costs, and changes in consumer trends. Anticipating and preparing for these factors in advance is the factor that determines success or failure. You must include a response plan such as, we will pursue local strategies to respond to the entry of large brands. Examples include the entry of large franchises, rising labor and operating costs, and rapid changes in educational trends. But we are preparing a strategy to deal with these threats. If you end it like this, your SWOT analysis becomes an action plan, not just a simple analysis. Expected outcomes should not be written too plainly. Rather than saying, I will contribute, I will develop. The key is to write about who, how, and how much you can contribute. Expected outcomes should not be written fancily but specifically. For example, note, create several jobs, contribute to the local economy, increase employment rates for those who complete training, etc. It is much more powerful to write about numbers, methods, and targets than just contribute to society. Personal expectations refer to what growth a founder or team member will experience. These include improving professionalism, boosting self-esteem, and expanding social networks. For example, strengthening practical capabilities of both instructors and students through a curriculum centered on field training. Business is not about doing well alone. It also has to consider its impact on the local community, society, and economy. Local job creation, strengthening self-employed competitiveness, and nurturing industrial professionals. If even 10 people are employed, it is a meaningful change for the local economy. Going a little further, if you include things like embracing diverse cultural sensibilities and emphasizing the use of eco-friendly products, the direction and values of the business become clear. SWOT analysis is a useful tool for assessing the current state of an organization and exploring future opportunities. By recognizing strengths and weaknesses and responding to opportunities and threats, you can develop better strategies. SWOT analysis is not an organization, but the beginning of an execution strategy. The expected effect is closer to future responsibility rather than future boasting. The following video will introduce how to organize a business plan and how to use it in real life.